everybody, today is So Saturdays, and today we're going to make a pair of Spanx. Now we're going to use a pair of shorts, chalk, have an iron because you want to make sure your fabric is nice and flat, scissors of course, and elastic, and of course your sewing machine. So I folded this fabric in half and I'm going to use this as my pattern. And I'm just going to mark about 1 inch above where the shorts are right now and trace it with the chalk. Right now this is folded in the front. We need a front pair and a back piece. I'll just go straight across. You want to make these straight and not really curved like the shorts are. And we're just going to trace along the back, going out about 1/2 inch for seam allowance. And I'm not using spandex, but I have a stretchy kind of cotton. It has a little bit of spandex in it. Thought I had some spandex, but unfortunately I did not. So we're just going to use this for now, which is okay because sometimes they use like a thicker cotton, especially in the winter time. And maybe about 1/2 inch at the bottom, just so you can fold it under and make a stitch. When you're making shorts like this, you don't want to make it the same size that the shorts are because you won't have enough space and room. And when you get ready to put it on or put it on your child, it's just going to be too small. So you want to give enough space to where you have enough for the seam and you have enough for the butt. So, sorry it's taking so long. I'm just a little bit of a perfectionist, so I'm going to put an F on here for front. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. It's much easier to cut out with the fabric being ironed, because when it's not ironed, you know, it's missized or it's just very difficult to cut through. So now that we have the front piece, we're going to go ahead and see, front piece is cut out. And I did mine a little bit more square than curved. These shorts actually have a little bit of curve in them, if you can see that. So what I'm going to do with these two front pieces is I'm going to cut down the middle. And you can also go ahead if you want. There's another way you can cut these, just like opening a short and doing like this so you have a front and a back piece. But this is the way I like to do it. It makes it easier for me. And it gets more of the form that I'm looking for. So I just cut down the middle where the fold is. And now you have two front pieces. So you want to make sure that both pieces are on the opposite side and just mark it so you don't get confused when you start stitching them together. And what you're going to do, I'm going to make the back piece in a minute, but I just want to show you this is how things are made easier for me. And this is the way that I like to do things. So what I'm going to do is pin this now, and then when I cut the back piece, I'm going to go ahead and pin it so when it's time to sew, I can just go ahead and stitch. So what you're going to do now is you're going to take this, because the stitch is going to go along here and round to the curve. Sorry about that. Just trying to see what's going on in my house. Okay, so then we're just going to keep pinning and we're going to stop where the stitch is going to stop. And I like to go right up into this edge here where the point is. And I'm going to put a pin right there, and that's where we're going to stop for now. See how it's pinned? And then you're just going to stitch. You can do a zigzag stitch or you can do a straight stitch. For me, when it comes to shorts and stuff like this, I like to do both. I don't have a serger. And sometimes what works for me, if I use the foot that has the overcast if you have the overcast foot, that works too, because it gives more of a secure seam. So what I'm going to do now is just, I'm going to pull this up and I'll cut it off later. I'm not going to worry about it right now. And this isn't as flat as I like it, so I'm just going to go ahead and flatten this out with the iron so that I can cut for my back piece. And if this is your first time, I would suggest to you to use a piece of fabric that you don't really care about losing, because if you use the fabric that you really want and you make a mistake, then you're going to be upset because you're going to have to go and buy more. So if you have any scrap fabric, or like I said, a fabric you just really don't know what to do with, and the fabric is laying around, I would suggest that you use that instead. And then once you get it how you want it, then go ahead and use the fabric that you really want to use. It's just a little tip. I've made plenty of mistakes and wasted plenty of good fabric making mistakes. So now I've learned my lesson, and I use fabric. This orange was ordered by mistake, so I really don't care if it gets messed up. So again, we're going to go ahead and do about 1 inch here at the waistline across. You could do 1 inch, half an inch, 5/8, whatever you're more comfortable with. This is just for tutorial purposes today. It's always good to do your own Spanx and other items for your daughter, because you can customize it the way you want and possibly get some orders in the process. It becomes very costly when you order things and it's customized with either your daughter's name on it, or you order rhinestones or crystals, or you get her name in glitter. Always best to do it yourself because it's a lot cheaper and it comes out a lot better. So we're going to go ahead and cut this out just like we did the front piece, and I cut on the fold pretty much all the time. Another tip is you always want to invest into a good pair of scissors, because it makes a big difference. When I initially started sewing, I just had the cheapest pair of scissors I could find, and I was always making mistakes with my fabric. I was always coming out with the cut being wrong, and it was just not great. So these are Singer, the scissors my mom had when I was growing up. It cost me $44 at Joann Fabrics, and it was well worth it. So we're going to go ahead and cut along the fold again. So now we'll have 2 back pieces, and we're going to stitch it. We're going to pin it, I'm sorry, just like we did in the front. And you want to make sure again that you have wrong sides out. So once you stitch along the back seam into the point, then you will go ahead and put the front and the back piece together. So I'm going to show you how to do that once I get this pinned. And since I already marked the front pieces with the F, I don't need to mark the back pieces because it's pretty obvious that what the front and the back pieces are. And again, I'm going to go ahead and use a zigzag stitch and probably do a straight stitch after that, so my seam is a little bit more secure. Okay, so see, got it stitched. I did a zigzag stitch and I did a straight stitch to make it a little bit more secure. So now we're going to put the pieces together. So this is the back piece I have here, and this is the front piece. So what we're going to do is put the right sides inside and the wrong sides are going to be outside. So you're just going to put the edges together and then you're going to sew along the edge. This is the waist, so that's going to be left open. You're going to sew along the other edge, and then you're going to sew the crotch area, which again, I'll probably do a zigzag and a straight stitch between the crotch to make it more secure. And you can hear my dogs walking back and forth. So I'm just going to pin it. So I'm going to make sure I always pin it. We're going to pin on the inside. Once everything is done, I'm going to show you how to encase the elastic in the waistband. It's really simple, really easy, and you can make a ton of these in no time. So if you're making some for your dance team or your cheer team, or you got a lot of girls in the house and you need to make a ton of them for different competitions, or just to have, you know, to wear if you're like me and you tell your daughter when she's wearing a dress because she likes to flip all over the place that she needs to wear shorts, these would be perfect for her because she won't feel like she has to wear her leggings or be in her tights all the time, especially in the summer. I'm old fashioned. I don't know. I just don't think little girls should be walking around with dresses and they don't have anything under, especially with a lot of curves being under. So, sorry it's taking me so long. I'm having serious sinus issues today, and I'm like, my vision is very blurred. So, I'm moving a little slow today. So, we've got it pinned, as you can see. This is our crotch area, so we're just going to, again, sew along the pins here. Sew up the crotch area. Ow! Stab myself, but we're going to sew along the crotch area, and then we're going to sew along here. And then when we're done, what I'm going to do is probably roll that up and stitch it, and then we're going to roll this down about a half inch. Well, I'll probably use another elastic, like a smaller elastic, since these are Spanx. I usually use this when I'm making her skirts and stuff like that. So I'll probably use like a half inch or 7/8 size of elastic, and then we're just going to fold this over. But I'm going to go ahead and go stitch this. Okay, so now it's all sewn together. You got the shorts. I went over this area, the part that's in the middle of the crotch. I went over that a few times so it's a little secure. What I've learned in the past is when I just go over it with one stitch, it really doesn't stay secure. But see, our seams are really secure. You got the little shorts, simple and easy. You didn't have to go out and buy a pattern. Just use a pair of shorts you already have at home. If you have to, if you're making different sizes that you don't have at home, I can, it's simple how to resize a pattern. And if you go to like thrift store or something like that and get the size you need, and use that brown packing paper I get from the dollar store, and I usually use that to make patterns that I want to use all the time. So what we're going to do right now is we're just going to turn these over at the legs, and then I'm going to iron that out, and we're just going to do a stitch across, so you know, make it look a little nicer, a little neater. So see, now it's turned up, so when you turn it over, that part will look like that, and you won't see the rigid edges or, you know, the miscuts or whatever. So you want to kind of make sure you get it even, and you can check that by just folding it in half and making sure that it's even. And it is. And I've been doing this for a while, so I pretty much know how to do it without having to do that. But when you're just learning, or you're trying some new things out that you haven't done before, you know, you want to take it slow. It's something that I didn't think about or do in the beginning when I started sewing. I didn't take it slow. I used to sew when I was a little girl, and I just thought I knew everything. I could pick this up again, and I was trying things that were, you know, complex, you know, more advanced, and I just couldn't do right off. So we're going to take this waist and we're going to turn it over, because we're going to stitch that. And you can also do a double fold if you want. It's your shorts, you can do what you want. For me, I'm just doing a single fold because just because that's what I want to do. Now then, I'm just joking, but yeah, I'm just doing a single fold right now. So there we go. So what you want to do when you get ready to put the elastic in, you're going to sew everywhere, but like right there, you're going to need to leave a hole so that you can feed your elastic through here. And I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to go ahead and get this stitched up, and then I'll be back and we will put the elastic through the waistband. And remember, always, 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 if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and ask me questions. If there's something you want to see how to do, if it's as simple as hand stitching something, or how to do a straight stitch if you don't know how to use your sewing machine, anything that you want to ask me, ask me. I will do a tutorial for you. I will give you instructions. I'll sit down, I'll work with you. If you need me to do a live event, go ahead and ask me. I'm a person. The worst I can say is no, right? So now that we have everything finished here, we have the legs rolled up, and we have the waist rolled down. So I have a 1/2 inch here. I decided to use the 1/2 inch instead of the full, and this is a knit elastic, and I cut this is at 16. I had this spare piece. My daughter's waist is like 21 inches, so you always want to cut about 3 to 4 less of the waist, the actual waist. So I'm sorry. So I have the hole here that I left open, and then I have the safety pin on the edge of the elastic, and we're just going to feed this through the hole all the way around. So we put it through there and just let it go all the way through, and just push the safety pin through and pushing the elastic through at the same time. Okay, so now we're gonna finish up here, and we're in my sewing room now. Woo. Okay, but here is the elastic here. After we have fed it through the opening, I cut about 2 to 3 more inches off of it because it was just too long. So I have it pinned together now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the elastic together so it's secure, and then we're going to close the opening. We'll fold it right side out, and then we'll see what it looks like. So let's go. First I'm going to start with a zigzag stitch just on the edge of it, and then I'm going to go back across it several times, and I like to do that just so I know it's very, very secure. And in this case, since you're going back and forth over it, just don't worry about reinforcing the first stitch, because you're going to reinforce it the more and more you go back over it. So this is 3 times. So now what I'm going to do is just go over it with a straight stitch, and I'm going to go maybe twice, since I did 3 times with a zigzag stitch. So now that we have that sewn together, we're just going to put it through. And you can see we still have this opening here. So what you're going to do when you sew that closed is you're going to stretch it, because if you sew it like this, then obviously you have that bunch here, and then elastic is going to be sewn right there, so it's not going to give you that stretch. So as you're going through in the sewing machine, you want to make sure to stretch that out as you go through. So I'm going to put this a little bit closer so you can see exactly what I'm talking about as I go ahead and sew mine through. And I'm just going to do this with a straight stitch. I don't need to do it with anything fancy, and I'm just going to put it over here like so. And once you get comfortable, you'll figure out what works for you as far as pulling that and getting that stretched out. So make sure you go back over and reinforce the stitch. Still make sure you're stretching it and pulling the fabric along with the elastic at the same time. So make sure to hold it at the other end so you're not pulling on the thread. I've broken a lot of needles that way, but as you can see, I am closing the opening. I'm just going over because it looked like something ripped in the process. And now I'm going to reinforce this stitch. Make sure it's secure. Cut it, and we are done with this project. So there we go. And if you have any labels or anything, I have my own labels. I did this. I went on Spoon Flower, and oops, sorry, where is it? There we go. See that? That's me, Nika D, 1977. Anyway, I got these the fabric on Spoon Flower. I just uploaded my own graphic and made my own labels, and it was actually cheaper to do it that way because I got I ordered just a like what was it, fabric square of this with my labels on it. It's kind of, you would design it the same way you would do labels in like Word or a template program like that, but in this case I used a canvas, and it's a cheaper way to get labels than to go and spend all that money buying them. So if you're going to do labels, of course you would just put that on in the end, and I'm not going to do it today because I'm not selling these to anyone. So we're going to turn this inside out, and these look more like regular shorts than Spanx, but that's okay. I'm pretty sure when they put them on her, because she's got a little bit of a booty for a 5-year-old, see? And of course I used white fabric just for the tutorial. Normally, I mean white thread. Normally I would use matching thread. So you just go through and just cut off any loose ends of thread in this, in that. And so there we go. They're so cute. She's gonna love, she loves anything I make. I can mess up on something and she would still love it. But here we go. Let's back up. Back it on up. There we go. There's the shorts. And you
did it yourself. You didn't have to pay anybody to do it. And you go ahead and put something on the back, like the name of your team. You can hook it up with some rhinestones or some bows or anything you want to use to make it look totally awesome. You can do that. You can make them shorter, you can make them longer. Like I said, for my daughter, she's got a little bit of a butt, so that's why I made these just a little bit wider than I normally would, but they're so cute, aren't they? And that is our Sew Saturday. See you next Saturday.